So first of all, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. This is our first webinar. So it really is raw for us, and we're excited for this opportunity. And we're really grateful that you joined us today. So thank you so much. Again, I see lots of familiar faces, so nice to have you joining us this morning. I'm going to take a quick minute to do some introductions for those of you that haven't met the staff of Dallas Retirement Village before. My name is Tanya. I'm the Sales and Marketing Director for Independent Living here in our community. I just celebrated my 7th anniversary with Dallas Retirement Village. I love it. This is by far my favorite job, and I feel blessed every day to work here and to be of service to seniors in our community. So thanks to you guys for that. On my team, I have Peggy Harmon. She's our residency coordinator. Peggy, you want to say hi?
Hello, good morning.
So Peggy and I work together as a team. Our job is to have all of the independent living options in our community full. So we spend our days with lots of phone calls, conversations, now meetings, emails, videos. So we're doing business a little differently than we're used to, but we're both super thrilled to be in this position that we have here at Dallas Retirement Village. And we have to introduce Francie. Francie, you want to wave and say hello? Hello. So you may have watched Francie's tutorial. She is amazing. Francie is the assistant to our executive director of the community. He's been here for over 22 years, something like that. Francie, how long have you been here?
Going into this is officially my 3rd year. I'm going into my 4th year here.
Wow, time flies. Holy cow. So Francie, folks, is the lady that holds us all together. She really is. She's the glue for our community. So we appreciate you, Francie. Thank you. Just a little tad bit about Dallas Retirement Village. We've been here since 1947. Do the math on that. So we're a little over 70 years young, and we've grown a tremendous amount in that time. We're home to a little over 400 or around 400 residents on any given day. So we have a great sized community and a beautiful 30-acre campus. One of the things I like to share that makes Dallas Retirement Village extremely unique is that we have on-site skilled nursing, both short-term and long-term. That is very unique, and it's something that I encourage folks who are researching senior living options to consider having a part of their final choice, because we're all living longer, and it's kind of becoming one of those things that more and more people are accessing in their lifespan. So we have that available for you. If you don't know, we are currently under development. We broke ground about a month ago. And we are doing what we're calling phase 2 of the lodge residences. So we're adding 29 additional apartment homes, an indoor pool, which I know our residents are super excited for. It'll have a hot tub, locker room, a beauty salon, a spa, some clinician rooms, dedicated fitness center. So we'll have a room for cardiovascular and another room for like aerobic type of programming. So super excited to kind of have all of our activities really come together in the hub of our community, which is called the Clubhouse. So that should be done in about 12 months, probably the end of August of 2021 next year. If you would like to learn or see a little bit more about that, you can visit our webpage at dallasretirementvillage.com. And if you go to Independent Living, there'll be a little drop-down bar that says New Construction. And we have a whole page dedicated to this development. And Peggy is really good about taking videos and photos, and we'll be adding updates as we progress through. The first 30 days have been a little bit slow, but things are starting to pick up, so you'll see that change quite a bit. I encourage you to check back regularly, because once they start putting the walls up, it goes pretty quickly. Let's see, last but not least, if you haven't met with us before, while you're on our webpage, you can go to Contact Us, and there's a little form that says Coffee and Conversation. And if you want to send that in, Peggy or I would be happy to have a phone call with you. We could do a Zoom meeting. We could practice and perfect our skills on this type of arrangement if you'd like. But unfortunately, at this time, we're not able to have visitors into the community. So we're doing business differently, but that doesn't mean we wouldn't still love to talk to you any way that we can. So again, thank you so much. We're gonna cover a couple housekeeping items and then we're gonna go. Again, Francie has you muted. That is just so that the person speaking can be heard very clearly by everyone visiting today. At the end of the presentation, we'll have time for a Q&A, both with Teresa of Soft Landings and for Dallas Retirement Village. So we'll just have you hold your questions till the end. If you would like, if a question comes to mind and you're afraid you might forget it, you can use the chat feature. So if you move your mouse, the chat feature will be located down in the bottom center of your screen. It looks like a little bubble burst and it says chat. You can click on that and then you can actually type in your question and we will either answer those for you while we're doing the webinar today or we'll cover them at the end. So if you'd like to use that feature, we encourage you to do that. Peggy's going to be manning the Facebook, so if you're joining us on Facebook, you can type your questions in there. And again, we'll cover those questions at the end, or Peggy will respond to you while we're going through the process. Lastly, something important for you, move your little mouse around, top right corner, make sure that you are in speaker view. So that speaker view is going to give you the best screen to view Teresa's presentation. So she's going to have some slides that she's going to share with you. We want to make sure you can see those really well. So again, just move your mouse up to the top right corner and make sure that you are on speaker view presentation. If you can't get it to work, don't worry. Teresa will be doing lots of talking and talking through those slides in much more detail than they'll read. So you won't miss anything for sure. Okay, again, we're going Facebook Live, so we'll have this recorded for you. And at the end of the day, Peggy and I will make sure everyone that's attended today gets a copy. So thank you again for joining us. And Teresa from Soft Landings, it's your turn. Thank you so much for being a part of our community today.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. If you're still eating breakfast, you know, we can still smell that bacon, but or maybe you're getting closer to lunch. You know, everybody's on a different time schedule here. So I'm sorry I can't be there in person with everyone because I sure would like to meet you all. But this works pretty well. If you're having technical difficulties or you don't like how you look for some reason, the most important thing is that you can see the screen and you can hear us. Okay, so no reason to get frustrated with video or muting yourself or any of that. And if you don't see the chat box, that's not a big deal either. Okay, so I am here today to talk about right sizing, and I love that word because everybody has lots of different things that come to mind when you think about right sizing. So I'm going to try to give you some tips and tools of things how to do yourself. We're going to have some polls. I think yeah, we're going to have some polls. So a little question box will pop up while I'm talking, and you can put your answer in that poll question, and then we'll discuss it. So that'll be kind of fun. We're going to have 3 of those, so kind of keep an eye on the video so you can get your vote in and be counted. So that's kind of how we're going to go along today. I'm going to respect your time and try to wrap up around 10:45, 10:50. So we have time for questions at the end. So we're all done around 11 o'clock. I think that's our time frame. And so I'm going to share my screen. So by sharing my screen, you'll get to see some slides that I have. And I'm also going to share some audio because I have a video. So Tanya, Francie, you can see my screen? Awesome. Okay, so I am the owner of Soft Landing Solutions for Seniors. Our tagline, you make the key decisions, we guide you with gentle expertise. I'm going to just tell you briefly a little bit about me, because you're not here to learn about me, but I was a CPA for 25 years, and then I started Soft Landings. And most people look at me and go, "What in the world? You know, why would you go from being a CPA to an owner of a business that helps seniors downsize and move?" Well, it's my grandmother. My grandmother is an amazing person. She's still alive. She'll be 96 in November. And about 10 years ago, she came to me with her idea of how she wanted to downsize and move. She has 10 children, 38 grandchildren. I don't know how many great grandchildren, and I do know we have 5 great grandchildren. So, but she came to me and said, "Can you help me do this?" And in helping her, we really helped each other. I learned so much from her. And she said, "You should be doing this for other people." And I was like, "What do you mean doing this for other people?" Helping people through this process. You've got a good project-based brain and a big squishy heart. So you put those two together and you get a senior move manager, I guess. So I started Soft Landing 7 years ago. Throughout that time, we've done a little bit of accreditation where we became certified senior move managers. We got 5 years of experience in, and now we're A+ accredited. A+ accredited means we have had all of our policies and procedures audited. We have kind of a policy and procedure for almost everything. We're insured, we're bonded, you can trust us, basically. So that's a little bit about Soft Landings and how it came to be. So downsizing. So you don't have to do it alone. You can get help, but you can do it alone if you want to. So why I say senior move managers to the rescue, and the happy couple dancing in their kitchen. And that's what everybody does, right? You kind of happily dance in your kitchen. I don't know where they get the pictures from, but I love it. And most people kind of get the deer in the headlight look when you start talking about downsizing. It's like, oh my gosh, you know, I've lived here a long time, and I don't even know where to start. So can we get our poll question going now, Francie? Is that possible? Okay. So this is our first poll. It's, you know, how many years have you been living in the home you're currently residing in? You know, less than 5, less than 10, less than 20, we'll just say more than 20 on the last one. So at your leisure, just kind of put that in there. And the reason why we're asking that question is because how you move has changed tremendously in the last 20 years. And where people move to has also changed tremendously in the last 20 to 30 years. There's many, many more options for people, for apartments, for condominiums, for senior housing, for senior living, for senior communities, and a lot of those didn't even exist in your parents' generation. It's not a nursing home anymore. A lot of people talk about senior living communities, and sometimes they still think about nursing homes, and that's not really the case anymore. That's for people who truly need nursing help and all that. And Tanya was just talking about having, you know, some services available for people when they need it, but it's certainly not a nursing home anymore. So things have changed. We have downsizing and so has moving. So can we get those poll results? Did anybody answer? Let's see what we got. Okay, see, I had a feeling. Most people have been in their home at least 20 years. Now, if we were live, I'd try to see who's been in their home the longest. My record is 53 years. So if you do access the chat box, and you can use it, if you feel like sharing, if you've been in your home over 50 years, let us know. That means I need to start working with you now. Yes. Yeah, that means you have a lot of stuff. We all accumulate. It's normal, it's natural. We don't get rid of things for lots of reasons, and I'll talk a little bit about that today. Um, Moving has changed as well. In the past, maybe you started out with a pickup truck and some friends, and you ended the day with pizza and beer. Right? Well, because of all that accumulation, maybe that won't work today, and maybe your physical ability is not quite the same as it was before, or your mental capacity might not be the same as it was before, or you're too overwhelmed by emotions. There's many ways to overcome those issues, though, and get downsizing and do it now. I will say the less clutter that you have in your house, the less clutter you have in your brain. So the more you can declutter your home, you can declutter your brain and stop thinking about things that don't really matter in the long run. I do want to touch briefly on COVID-19. It's the elephant in the room. We can't avoid it. So that's why we're doing everything Zoom or some other type of media. But we're definitely working. Soft Landings is based in Beaverton. We primarily work in the Tri-County area, but we do go outside of our area occasionally. We did get something called COVID-19 certified through our national association. And it was really important to me that the people we work with know that we care about their safety. I care about my team's safety as well, and we care about the families that we work with. And I wanted to let you know that we've gone through the extra step of doing it. If you can see the background, those are actually two of my employees on a work day with their mask on and their gloves on, and kind of getting things done. So we understand it's an issue for a lot of you, and we take it seriously. Space planning is the first tool we're going to talk about in your tool bag. So for those of you who don't understand what space planning means, it's different than a floor plan. We basically get a floor plan from Peggy or from Tanya, and they say, this is where Elizabeth is going to be moving to. This is her new apartment. She's super excited about it. It's this many square feet. Let's just say it's 980 square feet is a big one, and these type of amenities. And then we take that floor plan and we put it on a grid board. Our grid board is magnetic, and we have a lot of cutout magnetic pieces where we can put different pieces of furniture on it. So if you wanted to go ahead and get started, if you can get a floor plan and you know where you might be going, we can help you, or you can do it yourself with some grid paper. It takes longer though. And we can do it in about 2 to 3 hours. Start with your wish list of furniture. What is it that you really want to take with you that is important to you, that's functional, and now you can determine whether or not it fits. So we measure everything. So if you're going to do a lot of this yourself and you want to get a tool bag ready for your downsizing, you also get a tape measure because you're going to need it. So on a piece of paper, you can write your wish list of furniture, what the measurements are, height, width, length, everything, what room it's in now, and what room it might go to in your new place. Okay, so take your tape measure and then start that. Again, we can help you if you need it, but always make sure you measure and make sure you're doing with the right scale. I have had a few people do it themselves, and the community gave them a 1/4 inch to 1 foot scale, but that's not the scale that they used. And so, your furniture might not fit if it's on the right scale, not on the right scale. So it's really, if you can do this, it saves you so much headache later because you've already decided furniture-wise what might move. You've already measured it, and then you've determined whether or not it's going to fit. So kind of your first step, if you can. Okay, it's time for our next poll. Let's see if we can get some answers on this. Do you have a bucket list? Yes or no? I'm going to give everybody a minute to kind of type their answer in on that. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because there's lots of different bucket lists. And I'm talking about a bucket list of things in your home, not what you're going to do in your lifetime, you know, to get things done, that kind of bucket list. So what's on your bucket list? We're talking about a bucket list like where things go in your home. But how many of you said that you actually had a bucket list? Let's find out. Ah, 59% no. That's because y'all have already done it all. That's great. I love that answer. So there's only really 5 places things can go when you're downsizing and moving. You're going to decide it's moving with you. You're going to decide it belongs with family and friends. You're going to decide you can sell it, or you're going to decide you can donate it, or that last little bucket, there's 5 buckets, disposed of or shredded. So we're going to talk a little bit about those 5 buckets and then how to get started. So as I mentioned, the first bucket is we're going to keep it. So that means it fits, it's functional, and you love it. You can't part with it, you know, and that can't be everything in your home. I'm just going to say that right now. Everybody has things in their home that they can part with. You know, I'll give you my little story at the end that I still have in my house. But but everybody has things they can't get rid of it. But it fits, it's functional, you love it, it's important to you, so you're going to keep it. Okay? Our next bucket is give it to family. For those, if we were in person, I'd ask you what family this is. It's a little fuzzy, but it's the Griswold family. How many of you have seen all the vacation movies, right? Talk about a dysfunctional movie or family, but all families can figure out a way to split things up. With my grandmother, we had a choosing day. There's also a website called fairsplit.com that can help families kind of divvy things up. If you're lucky, your family or friends want your things. If you haven't heard that from anyone yet, a lot of the times your younger family members or younger friends don't necessarily want your things. So I'm sorry to be a bearer of bad news if you haven't heard that yet, but it's true. A lot of the younger generations more mobile. They move more. They want things lightweight and easy and streamlined, and that does not include large entertainment centers, things like that. So if you're lucky, like I said, there are many ways to get things out to your family and friends. Choosing colored dots. We like to use these a lot. These are little colored dots that you can get from Michael's, Fred Meyer, you know, anywhere like that. Grocery stores may have them, I'm not sure. And so you can use these for family members or for your buckets. I'll talk about that once we get through all 4 of them. But each color can be a family member or it can be a bucket if you can't physically move whatever it is you've decided on. So our next bucket is we're going to try to sell it. So remember, our first bucket is we're going to keep it because it's fit, it functions, we love it, we have to have it. Our next bucket is we're going to try to give it away to family and friends. Now, if you don't want it and your family and friends don't want it, then most people try to sell it. And honestly, it's kind of hard to sell things nowadays, especially large things. I'm just going to go from a top to bottom with how to sell things. If you have enough value remaining in your home after you've decided what you're taking, then you might be able to have an estate sale. And I believe Dallas Retirement Village has a resource for you that they can share, that they use, that might be able to help you in a estate sale. Now, if you've done a good job of giving to family and friends or other things like that, then you might not, sorry, I was just looking for one more thing. You might not have enough left over for an estate sale. So depending on what it is, You can sell it through eBay if it's small. You can sell it through Facebook Marketplace if it's large or small. Craigslist is another one, but don't ever put your address out on Craigslist. I've seen a few people trying to sell things themselves. They put their address out there, and you do not have to put your address in a Craigslist ad. You can give the address out once you've confirmed somebody's actually interested in what you have. And in fact, I don't recommend anybody selling things directly to their house unless you're going to have several people there with you when you're doing it. Okay. And then the last is to donate it. Again, if you don't want it or it doesn't fit, you can't give it away, you can't sell it, maybe you can donate it. So that means it can't be torn, stained, or broken. Okay, so if it's torn, stained, or broken, don't donate it. Nobody wants it anyway. But there are charities open right now. We had a little bit of a problem in, middle of March, April, and May, where a lot of charities were closed and not taking donations. But in the Tri-County area, they're definitely open again. And again, Dallas Retirement Village has donation resources as well. I think Tanya can bring those up at the end, or yeah, okay. She can bring those up at the end when we're done to give you some resources locally there. So we can donate it. The last bucket is recycle and dispose. We kindly call this the dumpster or shredding. So if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. And our goal should be, one, to start now with your downsizing and moving. Two, make this last bucket as small as possible. So again, our first bucket, which when we're working with you, we always only focus on that first bucket right away. What's going with you? Family and friends. You're going to try to sell it through various different ways. You're going to try to donate it. Then you have what's left over is a lot of things that might be torn, stained, or broken, and paper. There's always a lot of paper in a home, especially for those of you who have been in your home over 20 years. We just kind of, put it in different spots. It just kind of accumulates. We'll get to it later, and then it just kind of sits there. And file cabinets, we've all stuck things in, but then never got rid of it. We have a great service that can come to you and shred paper, but I know Dallas Retirement Village also can shred things for you. Tanya can talk about it at the end about how they're doing that. I don't know if you're doing it right now or not because of COVID-19, but they can talk about that as well. Okay. Those are our 5 buckets. That's our bucket list. So as you're going around with your tape measure and your dots, you're going to think about what bucket things go into. And again, if you can't move it, put a dot on it, and that'll remind you you've already made a decision about it. And it can stay there with that dot until it gets out of your home. But the clutter goes here and not in your brain anymore. So my next advice is I'm going to pause because if I could see you, I'd let you start guessing what this means. No, it's not the state of Ohio. It's only handle it once. Okay, only handle it once. So if you can only handle it once, that means try to make a decision about things as you go along. So I recommend starting in one room. For those of you who have a garage, maybe start in the garage first. Start in one corner of the garage, kind of go through it. What's there? What is it? If it's in a bin and it's not labeled, you don't know what it is, have somebody help you get it out or see what it is. And if you're going to keep it, label it, because you'll want to empty out that garage or at least dot everything in your garage because you're going to be taking things out of your house that'll probably go in the garage for a little bit. So my advice is to start in the garage first. If you don't have a garage, tackle some people like to tackle the hard things first, and some people like to tackle the easy things first. So if you want to tackle something hard first, I would tackle the kitchen because that's hard. And you know you've got 10 spatulas and 15 different cloth bags and all of that, and that you don't need them all. You just don't. You know, you can just start putting them in a box for a donation or something else. You know, you just don't need them. If you want to start in an easy spot, start in the guest room. Most people have a guest room. If you don't have a guest room, that's okay. Second bedroom, not the office. That can be on the harder side as well. But start in a guest room or closets. Closets are a great place to start. I always have one of these. It's just a white garbage bag in my closet at all times. Because if I take out a piece of clothes, and I don't have a lot of clothes left anymore, but I take it out and if it doesn't fit and I don't want to wear it, or it's just 10 years old and it's out of style, then it goes in the bag and I donate it. So, and if I buy this is for us women, if I buy new pairs of shoes, one of my other shoes have to go in the bag. So you can do it. You can do it. Okay. So I want to talk briefly about when is the best time to start. Of course, it's now, right? Yesterday was too late. It's already gone. Tomorrow may be too late. And the reason why I want to touch on this is that we might have people who might not be moving for a while or be moving soon. So I think we have a poll question for this as well. Let's see. We'll talk about why it's important to start now, no matter when you might be moving. So do you plan to make a move in the next 2 years? You do or you do not? You know, you can put your answer in there. And we'll get the results in just a minute. But basically, even if you're not going to be moving for 2 years, the more you do now, the less stressful it will be later, and the more choices you will have. People who delay and delay and delay with making decisions where they're going or what is going with them often have choices taken away from them. Somebody else is making the choice for you, or it just kind of is an emergency mode and it's very, very stressful. So my advice is for those of you who are considering moving at some point, which is you probably are because you're here today, start now. It'll mean the more choices you have and all the choices will be yours. So nobody wants other people to make choices for them. No matter what your age. And that does happen if you don't plan ahead and if you don't start making decisions now, even if you don't need to do it, move right now. So what is our answer to when people are thinking about moving? I do plan to make a move in the next 2 years. So that's like a third and 2/3. So for you 2/3 that are definitely thinking about moving in the next 2 years, you definitely want to start now. Get your dots, get your label, start working in a room, start working at one corner, and then go to the next corner, and you can do it. And it can be fun, and you can have help. So I have a little video here that's going to talk about kind of a life in the day of a senior move manager. You know, what does a senior move manager actually do? This will give you a little bit idea of what we do. I didn't want to just talk about soft landings the whole time. I wanted to give you some real tips and tools, but this will give you an idea of what it means to work with a senior move manager.
It's really more than a move. It is a life transition, and we're so honored to be able to touch them and help them throughout this part of their life.
Every client is different. They have their own individual needs, and what we're really trying to do is move them in the most comfortable, safe, and productive fashion.
One of the things that we're trying to achieve is to make your move as stress-free, as smooth as possible.
We actually manage the process everywhere from floor plan design to helping manage the logistics of the movers and the moving process. We help to downsize and declutter, pack it up, move it, set it up, put it all back together, recreate the space that they used to live in so it kind of feels like home.
It was all put together. Beds were made, things were put away. There was a note every place to show you where everything was.
One of the greatest things about what we do every day is interacting with the family and working together side by side with them to be able to provide the support so that the kids can come in and truly support the parents through this process in a way that's helpful and beneficial, instead of ending up in conflict over deciding what will go and what will not go.
NASM is so important because we ensure quality, we ensure that people have minimum standards, that they have insurance, that they've gone through some education. And if there is a problem, there's also an ethics committee that they can fall back on to call. We can rearrange things in the home or add a few items to the home to allow somebody the ability to safely stay in their home.
The one thing that people misconceive is that move management is expensive, but it's really not.
We do everything a la carte. We can do a full solution move, or we can just do parts of a move. So if families feel like they can do part of the packing or part of the unpacking and hanging pictures, then we can just do, some of the moving and the design. So really, we can fit anybody's budget, really, to try to help to reduce the stress and the pressure of the move.
They owe it to themselves to have a smooth transition and get on with their life.
I couldn't have made this transition without her.
Thank you. So that tells you a little bit more about what a senior move manager does and what we do specifically. We can help declutter. We can help stage. We can develop an overall plan in terms of timing, when you should do what. We can help with space planning. We can help sort. We can help do many different things to get you going. If you'll notice, like family photos are on here. A lot of people have family photos and aren't sure what to do with those. So we have some ideas about that. We bring in, when we're helping you move, we bring in all of our materials, the boxes, the paper, all of that, get the move, take it in, unpack it. In COVID-19, we're not getting to do a lot of unpacking in communities right now, but a few we are. And unpack it, get you settled in, and make sure the bed's made, lights are on, you're ready to live there. And then we also help empty out the home after you've moved. So normally there's going to be things left over. And if you're not having an estate sale, then there'll be things left over to take care of, to get to donation, or try to sell it a different way. But with us and most senior move managers, it's always a no charge, no obligation consultation. We can do that virtually right now using FaceTime or another device that you're comfortable using to get started. And so I just want to give you an idea of kind of what all the things that we do that you might have to do when you start downsizing. When? No, I can't hear you, but now, thank you, Tanya. now. So that is my current team. I just wanted you to meet them. They're all in their 40s and 50s and helped a family member downsize and move somehow. And we're either called superheroes or we're moving fairies. You can choose. But they helped a family member downsize and move and found me one way or the other. And we have a lot of fun together, but we also share, well, non-COVID-19, a lot of hugs as well. Now, I know some of you aren't necessarily local. I was listening to some of the conversation earlier. I think everybody's in Oregon, but I don't know that for sure. But if you're moving to Dallas Retirement Village from a different area and you need somebody to help you there, you can go to this website. It's nasm.org, www.nasm.org. And type in, click on find a senior move manager, and then type in your zip code of where you live now, and you'll get a list of people that might be able to help you. Now, there's no one in Bend, I heard that, but I do have a contact that does something similar to what we do in Bend, but they're not a senior move manager. But we're in every state now. When I started my business, there were about 800 nationally, which isn't very many. If you think about it, there's probably 800 realtors just in the Portland metro area, and there's now we have almost 2,000 senior move managers, and they did not have the A+ accreditation when we started. Now we do, and when I got our accreditation, there were only 60 of us nationally, and now that's going slower because you have to have 5 years of experience and do all of this other work, and now there are about 80 of us nationally. So there's some options for you there. There's my contact information. It is also in the chat box for those of you using the chat box. You can reach us directly by phone, by email. I would encourage you to go to our website. If you go to our softlandingsforseniors.com website, on the top right, there's a menu, and one of them is a blog. So I try to put interesting, informative things on the blog so that kind of keep people moving in the right direction and making sure that they can get started now with the tools that they need. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute unless I need to go back to something else. And that concludes the brief part of what I wanted to get across to you today. Maybe we'll do an in-depth follow-up at a later date. I don't know. We'll see if we have any questions. So did we have any questions to go over, Francie or Tanya?
Yeah, we got one question in the chat box from Rich. Did you mention consignment stores which sell your items for a percentage of the sale price?
I didn't mention consignment stores, but they certainly exist. And again, I'm not as familiar with consignment stores in the Dallas area, but I know that we have them all throughout the Portland metro area. How they're doing things nowadays, they want you to take a picture of what it is you might want to consign, whether mostly furniture. It could be also crystal, china, fur coats, things like that. Take a picture. They want you to email it to them with a description of it. And so that way they can decide whether or not they want it. If it's furniture and they want to take it for you and consign it, hopefully they have a truck that can come pick it up and take it to their store and consign it for you. Great question. Thank you.
Teresa, I had a question. I'm sure everybody's wondering. For the services offered by Soft Landings, could you give us just kind of a price range? I think that's always, you wonder. Could you help us with that?
Sure. Yeah. Some people go, oh, this is probably $10,000, or somebody else goes, 500. So it's a great question. We always give you an estimate if we come in to do a no charge, no obligation consultation, meaning you're going to get an estimate from us if you want it. So you'll get it specific for you because everybody's idea of clutter is different. Some things we can do for $800, and the most we've ever charged working with someone was $6,000, and that was to a penthouse in downtown Portland. Our average cost is anywhere between $2,500 and $3,200. And again, that includes all of the materials. This is everything. Space planning, sorting, packing, unpacking, settling in, and supervising the disposition of everything left behind in the home. So that's kind of everything. We don't always have to do everything. If somebody just needs a little bit of help, then we can give a little bit of help. We do have a 3-hour minimum. So that's about it. Yeah.
Thank you for that information.
You're welcome.
And anyone else have a question they would like to pose for Teresa or her company?
Yes, there's a question in the chat from Karen. No one in the Bend area, being there's no one like soft landings that Teresa mentioned. But what about movers when needed from here to Dallas, Bend to Dallas?
Yeah, well, the movers that are regulated have gotten regulated outside of the Portland metro area can actually charge less for certain things, especially from Bend to Dallas. I can give a couple of mover recommendations that I know go to that area later, or I can do it now. PDX Movers, I know, goes to Central Oregon and around the state. They're not limited to just the Portland area. And then we also have another company, Redefine Moving, that I know goes outside the area as well. And again, if you want to email me directly, I can give you specific information about referrals depending on what you have going on. I'm always happy to help.
Great. Any other questions for Teresa?
When are you all getting started?
She's testing you.
I saw some people say now with their mouths now. So yeah, that's good, because that's probably the most important thing to get across is do things while you have choices. Try to do things methodically. Know that you're capable of making the decisions that you need to make, and start working on it.
Thank you, Teresa. Very helpful information.
I wish I could see everybody.
Hopefully soon. I think we're all anxious for that day and time. Anyone have questions for Dallas Retirement Village? If you do have a question, you can unmute yourself. Just click on that little red microphone by your picture or your name, and it will unmute you, and then you can chat with me directly.
Tanya, why don't you talk about the shredding?
Yes.
Thank you.
So a couple things to cover. Dallas Retirement Village does shredding for its residents. So if you're choosing to move here and come here and you brought a big box of shred, we wouldn't turn you away. Residents have access to shredding opportunities 365 days a year. So we've got you covered in that department. We also talked about estate sale of a person that we work with, and we do have a company that we're not partnered with them by any means, but they've done a lot of business in our community. So we definitely have a contact for you. If that's something you'd like to look into, I'd be happy to pass their name and phone number along. And currently in Dallas specifically, the Goodwill, Sable House, H2O, those places are all taking donations. So that, like Teresa had mentioned for a while, and maybe even in some other counties, some of those services aren't up and running, but knock on wood, right now, those are working for us here in Dallas. So those would be some good resources for you to use your keep it, give it away, sell it, donate it, or throw it away. Did I pass?
You did a great job.
I took notes. And I loved what you said about only hold it. What was it? Only what?
Only handle it once.
Only handle it once.
Ohio.
I have a rule with my mail. I open it and I do something with it. So my significant other loves to set it on the counter until the pile gets like this. And then he goes through it 2 or 3 more times and then sorts it, and then we still have a pile.
Yeah.
Drives me crazy.
Only handle it once if you
Only
can.
handle it.
That can apply to many, many things. I did see a question here for me. Do we come to the coast? And I'm going to throw Central Oregon in there too. We do go where there is need, but we do get compensated for our travel expenses. So for instance, if we're going to, southern coast and it's going to take more than an hour and 15 minutes to get to wherever we're going, it generally makes sense for us to stay the night. And so we get compensated for the people spending the night, but we certainly don't get paid for 24 hours. We only get paid for the work that we do. And we try to be very efficient with our time, because we know people have worked really hard for the money that they have. And we want to make sure they're spending it in the best way that they can spend it. So we have traveled in the past. When we're allowed to travel and do more after COVID-19, we'll be traveling again. Please explain the difference between an organizer and your services. Well, there's many things. As a senior move manager, part of National Association of Senior Move Management, we are bonded, we are insured. You know you're going to get a group of people who are looking out for your best interest. An organizer might not be part of a national organization. They might be. Ask if they're bonded, ask if they're insured, and they might not pack. A lot of organizers might come in and help you declutter and sort, but they might not pack for you or unpack for you. So if they're not packing and unpacking, then you have to find somebody else to do that. So my grandmother made it really clear. She just wanted one person to call that's going to take care of everything and not have to worry about the rest. I think that's probably the biggest differences.
One other thing I want to cover, so for local people, Dallas, the Dallas area, we have about 3 different movers that seem to consistently and very successfully do business in our community. So if you're looking for a mover, that's information Peggy and I can also help you with. And at least one company specifically can be kind of from zero to hero. So they can come in, pack your house, label everything, bring it here, unpack it, hang your clothes in the closet, plug the TV in, and put the remote on the end table for you. So, and everything in between. So if you're looking for that information, you want to do some research, we can refer you on to those folks as well. One other thing I did want to mention because I know we have a lot of priority program people with us today, or if you're on the waiting list for a future lodge residence, we do have a program on our website. So if you go to independent living and you scroll down to where it says lodge residences, it'll say view floor plans. That takes you to an interactive tool. So you can click on the name of the floor plan that you're planning to move to or would like to move to in the future. And then you can click and drag furnishings from a little selection and drag them into the floor plan. So like Teresa was mentioning earlier, putting things to scale appropriately. This program actually offers you that opportunity. So you can customize the size of the chair to be the same size of the chair that you have at home, and it puts it to scale into the floor plan. So very fun tool to play with. And like Teresa said, very important, measure, 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 because you don't want to bring stuff with you that you have to turn around and get rid of later. So doing that planning is pretty important. Any other questions?
Tanya?
Uh-huh.
Am I muted?
Nope, I can hear you.
Are you going to give us the name of your estate sale company in Dallas, and do they come to Salem? We're right across the river.
Yep, I actually believe they're based out of Salem, and I don't have their phone number handy, but how about this? I will include it, or I'll email it to you, and that way you'll have it.
Because you're talking to Mike and Meredith Gilbert?
Yes. I can see you and I can see your name, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then
Tanya, there's another chat question from EG, but I don't know the person's first name. How long before a move to a retirement center should you hire a senior mover?
I'm going to let Teresa answer that question.
Now. It's never too soon. We have worked with people for up to 2 years before, not that they're paying us for 2 years, but basically it doesn't hurt to go ahead and get information. I'm one of the people that believe information is knowledge. It gives you ability to make decisions. The lack of information keeps you in a void. and you can't make decisions. So the more information you have, the better. Now, if you're seriously 2 years out, maybe you don't need to call us yet. But within a year, I think is a good time because we can help with the plan, the move plan, when to do what. Instead of having all this flurry of activity right before you move, like what happened, 20 or 30 years ago, you have the luxury of starting to do things now, getting things done now, and then it's not as stressful when it comes to the move. So really any time is the answer to that.
Absolutely. Okay, Annie.
I have something to share with you.
Oh, perfect.
Actually, it's not a question, but Garden Services in Salem has infinite ability to help you shred, both small and large, and it's very inexpensive, and it would save doing a lot of that ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the, I wish that's why we could all be together, because I know, and I know Tanya knows this as well, all of you have great resources and great ideas. So we can't do a lot of idea sharing today, but maybe Tanya and Peggy will have a way of doing some idea sharing going forward. That's a great idea. Yeah. And I also wanted to say thank you specifically to Tanya and Peggy and Francie for having me do this with you today. It's very enjoyable for me. I like getting information across to people. So thank you for having me.
Oh, well, thank you. We appreciate your time and the valuable information that you've shared with us. It's really important, and I was trying to figure out how to share my screen, so this is where we get to that funny, amusing part. I saw it earlier, Francie, and now I don't see it, but I came across something that I did want to share with you guys, just because it seems so real in our everyday jobs here at Dallas Retirement Village.
I'll be right over if you want.
Oh, perfect. So watch, Francie is right next door to me. Thank goodness.
Usually it's down in that bar at the bottom, Tanya, where you just kind of move your mouse down and then it should say share screen. No?
The bright green button right there.
That was the big one.
I see it now. Okay, so before we sign off and I share this with you again, I just want to say thank you to everyone for giving us some of your time today. Remind you that Teresa, Francie, Peggy, and I we're here for you every day. And we wish all of you nothing but the very best of luck in the future. And we look forward to seeing and visiting all of you soon. So on that note, I'm going to close with this, and these are really great words. So take a minute, read it, and let it sink in a little bit. So I think that especially Peggy and I, because we, our job is meeting with seniors who are considering transitioning. We meet and talk to so many great people, and we hear often, oh, we're not ready yet. So I just want to encourage you today to think about moving to that stage of life and that opportunity to be ready, especially in independent living, the portion of the community where Peggy and I work. We have so many awesome, fun things for you to enjoy. And we take out the responsibility of home ownership, maintenance, all of the kind of the unpleasant parts of, owning your own home and things like that, so that you really, truly can be retired and enjoy things. So I encourage each of you today to take that next step forward. I know there's several of you in this group who are in the process of doing that. I won't pick you out and poke at you, but I just want to say congratulations to those of you that have. And for those of you that are coming here, we appreciate you, and we're super excited to have you join us. So we appreciate your reservation and your time today. And that's all we have. So have a fabulous rest of the day, folks. Thank you for coming.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.